There is a disease that affects nearly half of all adults over 30. Most people know they have it. Most people ignore it. And most people have no idea that the same disease quietly destroying their gums is also destroying their brain. This is not a metaphor. This is not a loose association. The bacteria responsible for gum disease have been found alive inside the brains of Alzheimer's patients, not near the brain. Not associated with brain inflammation, inside the brain tissue itself, and the implications of this discovery are so significant that several of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world are now racing to develop drugs that target these specific bacteria as a treatment for Alzheimer's disease. Your mouth is not separate from your brain. There is a direct biological highway between them. And for millions of people, that highway is being used as an invasion route. Here is the anatomy of the problem. Your mouth is home to over 700 species of bacteria. Most of them are harmless. Many of them are beneficial, but when the balance shifts, when certain aggressive bacteria begin to dominate, a condition called periodontitis develops. Periodontitis is not simply bad breath or bleeding gums. It is a chronic bacterial infection of the tissue and bone structures that hold your teeth in place. The gum tissue becomes inflamed, the bone beneath it slowly erodes, and crucially, the barrier between the bacteria and your bloodstream becomes compromised. Under normal conditions, the gum tissue forms a tight seal that keeps oral bacteria out of circulation. In periodontitis, that seal breaks down, bacteria and their toxic byproducts enter the bloodstream continuously. Every time you chew, every time you brush, every time you swallow, and once they are in circulation, they can travel anywhere the blood goes, including the brain. The key bacterium in this story is called Porphyromonas gingivalis. It is the primary pathogen in chronic periodontitis. It is aggressive, persistent, and extremely difficult to eliminate, and it produces enzymes called gingipains that are specifically toxic to brain tissue. In 2019, a team of researchers published a landmark study in the journal Science Advances that changed the scientific conversation about Alzheimer's disease. They examined brain tissue from Alzheimer's patients. They found Porphyromonas gingivalis in the majority of the samples. They found gingipain enzymes actively present in brain tissue. They found that gingipain levels correlated with the severity of the tau protein tangles that are one of the defining hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease. Then they infected mice with Porphyromonas gingivalis. The mice developed the neurological changes characteristic of Alzheimer's disease. And when they administered a drug that blocked the gingipain enzymes, the neurological damage was significantly reduced. This was not a study showing loose correlation. This was a demonstration of biological mechanism. The bacterium travels from the mouth to the brain. The enzymes it produces damage brain tissue. The damage looks like Alzheimer's. Block the enzymes. Reduce the damage. A company called Cortexami has since developed a gingipain inhibitor drug that is in human clinical trials specifically for Alzheimer's disease. The mouth-brain connection is no longer theoretical. It is in clinical trials, but the brain is not the only destination. Research published in the European Heart Journal found that Porphyromonas gingivalis is present in atherosclerotic plaques in coronary arteries. The same bacteria that erode your gums are accumulating in the arteries of your heart. A 2019 meta-analysis of studies covering more than 300,000 participants found that individuals with periodontitis had a significantly higher risk of coronary artery disease. A separate study found that gum disease was associated with a 50% higher risk of stroke. And research from the American Diabetes Association has established a bidirectional relationship between periodontitis and type 2 diabetes. Gum disease worsens blood sugar control. Poor blood sugar control worsens gum disease. Each condition accelerates the other. In longevity medicine, periodontitis is now being described not as a dental problem with some systemic consequences, but as a systemic inflammatory disease that happens to begin in the mouth. Here is what makes this particularly alarming. Periodontitis is largely painless until it reaches an advanced stage. Most people with moderate periodontitis have no significant pain. They may notice occasional bleeding when they brush. They may see slight swelling in the gums. They may notice that their gums have receded slightly, and then they ignore it. Because there is no pain. Because it seems cosmetic. Because life is busy. But underneath that painless surface, the bacterial load is building. The inflammatory signaling is constant. The bacteria are entering the bloodstream with every meal, and in the brain. Years before any cognitive symptom appears, the damage may already be accumulating. The average time from early gum disease to diagnosable periodontitis is measured in years. The average time from periodontitis to measurable cognitive decline is measured in decades. The window to act is not when symptoms appear. The window is now. The research on what actually works is clear. Mechanical cleaning is irreplaceable. Brushing twice daily removes the bacterial biofilm that would otherwise calcify into the hard deposits that harbor aggressive bacteria. Flossing disrupts the bacteria between teeth where brushing cannot reach. Professional cleaning every 6 months removes calcified deposits that home care cannot address and identifies early periodontitis before it has caused significant bone loss. But here is the part that most dentists do not tell you. Diet has a profound effect on the oral microbiome. High sugar consumption feeds the bacteria most associated with gum disease. Fermented foods and dietary fiber support the beneficial bacterial populations that compete with and suppress pathogenic species. And specific anti-inflammatory compounds have demonstrated measurable effects on the bacterial populations and inflammatory markers associated with periodontitis. Curcumin has been studied specifically for its effects on Porphyromonas gingivalis and has shown antibacterial activity against it in laboratory studies. Green tea polyphenols have demonstrated consistent anti-inflammatory effects in periodontal tissue in clinical trials. Vitamin C deficiency is one of the oldest known risk factors for gum disease, because vitamin C is essential for the collagen production that maintains the structural integrity of gum tissue, and omega-3 fatty acids have been shown to reduce the severity of existing periodontitis through their systemic anti-inflammatory effects. The bacteria in your mouth respond to what you put in your body, not just the toothbrush, not just the floss. The entire internal environment you create either supports or suppresses them. Here is the deeper principle that longevity medicine is arriving at. Aging is not a disease in one location. It is a systemic inflammatory process that finds its fuel sources wherever it can. Zombie cells in your tissues, senescent signals in your blood, bacteria in your gums. They all feed the same fire. They all accelerate the same decline. And they are all addressable. The mistake that most people make is treating their body as a collection of separate systems. Teeth in the dentist's office, heart with the cardiologist, brain with the neurologist. Longevity science is collapsing these divisions. The mouth is not separate from the heart. The heart is not separate from the brain. The gums are not separate from the neurons. They are one system, aging together and responding to intervention together. If you address the inflammation in your mouth, you reduce the inflammatory load on your heart. You reduce the bacterial exposure to your brain. You reduce the systemic cortisol response that accelerates cellular aging throughout your body. Point 1. Intervention. Multiple systems. Measurable results. This is what modern longevity medicine means when it says the future of health is systemic. If this changed how you think about your daily brushing, subscribe for weekly longevity science from a perspective you will not find anywhere else. 20 years of botanical research from the highlands of Vietnam, and the science that is finally explaining why it works. Next video. Why losing muscle after 40 is one of the most dangerous things that can happen to your body, and the exact intervention that reverses it. See you there.